Okay, I can see you guys now. Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the fourth day of the React Essential, where we are gonna learn about the next and one of the most important hooks in React. And today only, we're also gonna see how to consume APIs in React. Okay. So good evening, everyone. Good evening, Vijay. Good evening, Shubhadeep, Saideepa. Good evening, Roshan. Good evening, Vikram, Kavita. Good evening, everyone. I hope you guys can hear me properly and I hope you guys can see my screen properly as well. Okay. So till now we have completed how to set up a React project. Okay. What are components, how to create components, how to pass props into component. We saw how to work with state, right? We saw how to display data. Okay. So yesterday we created an array of objects, which was basically holding a lot of data, and we saw how to display it. Okay. Now today we're going to move ahead and we're going to learn one more hook. So till now we have learned one hook, that is the use state hook. Okay. So we learned it on the second day, the use state hook. Okay. And we learned that, okay, fine, it's basically is a special kind of variable. And if we change the data of that variable, the component re-renders. So basically for whatever variable, we want it to carry some data, and based on that data, if we want to render the component or re-render the component, we can create it like a state variable. Okay. So why Munstack is best for full stack? Krishan, I think you asked the same doubt on the second day, right? I told you it's not like the best. It is one of the best, but mean stack is also one of the best for full stack development. It's not like that Munstack is the best. No, it's not like that. It is not like that. Okay. So yesterday assignment question given, when should we submit it? I think once we finish up the session, you still have 3 days. So in that time, you can submit your assignments, everyone. Okay, guys. So till now we have covered states, props, how to build your components, how to display data. Okay. And now today we're going to talk about one very special hook, that is the use effect hook. And after that, I'll also show you how to consume APIs. And then we'll again come back tomorrow. And by using all the things that we have learned, we will create a project. And believe me, guys, we have already covered, like, don't think of this course like an essential course. Actually, we have covered quite a lot. We have covered around 50 to 60% of React. By tomorrow, we will cover about 50 to 60% of React. So you can use it as a Kickstarter. So it's not like we have only covered 30 to 40%. No, we have covered around 60 or maybe 70% React, because we know how to work with state. We know how props work. We know now today we're going to see how to consume APIs. We know how to display things, right? So everything. Okay, then let's go ahead, guys. Let's go ahead and let's see. So let me run this project first. So npm start. Which language is best for backend? I personally use Node.js and PHP. Okay, and you can use any one of it. It's totally fine. So here we go, guys. Right now it's blank because yesterday I think we removed the component. Maybe let's see. Yes, we also commented the component, right? Our main component. If we get it back, we'll see the cards are here. This is what we created yesterday, right? Now today let me create one more component. Okay, so we'll do the logic today's things in a different component. So let's go ahead and create one more component, and let's call it something like on this component I'm going to show you how to consume APIs. So let me call this component API demo, something like that. Now it's not a good name, guys. It's not at all a good name. Oh, let's do one thing. Let's call it users instead of that, because we'll consume an API. Okay, where we'll get some user data. So let's call it users. So here we go. We have a component, users component, and now let's do it. Let's create it. So function users. Now I think you guys are familiar with how to create a component. And again, the same thing, export default component. And inside this, so that's the basic setup of creating a component, right, everyone? Do I need to learn PHP? I just want to change my career in learning this stuff since last 3 months and now stuck on React. It's not like that. You can go for Node.js as well. It will help actually, because PHP will become a completely different language for you. If you're already working with React, that means you're already working with JavaScript. So Node.js will be much more easier for you. So if you want, there's no need to learn PHP right now. You can go for Node.js and you can still create some good backends with that. And in future, if you want, you can switch to PHP. Okay. For now, if you're like working with React, Node.js will be a good option for you. Guys, so now our component is ready, and let's say let's give it a age 3 here, and let's just call it what do you say? Uh, API consumption. It means API calling. Whatever you want to call it, you can call. And now let's go ahead. So how is Express.js? It's good. That's what you use to create APIs in Node.js, right? So it's good. Now, guys, let's also import this component. So import users from users, and then let's integrate this component. Let's render this component. Here we go. Users. Let's see. And also let me change the background color for now. So where is my app.css? I want to change my background color. I again want to make it white. Here we go. Perfect. Guys, we have it. Okay. Now, guys, please focus. Now, the first thing that we are learning today is one hook. Okay. So there is also, now see guys, the first hook that we learned was this one. The first hook that we learned was use state. Now we know what is a hook. It's nothing but a function that you can use. It's an inbuilt function, or you can also create your own thing. Why they are called as hooks? Because you hook to these functionalities. You connect to these functionalities. Okay. So we have already learned one hook, that is use state, which basically helps you to create state variables, which are nothing but special kind of variables, okay, that help you to render your component whenever the value is changed. Now we are today seeing one more hook, okay, and the hook name is use effect. So what is it? What it does? So use effect is a hook. It is basically considered as a side effect function. It is basically considered as a side effect function. Okay. So what is the meaning of side effect function? It means that this function is called whenever something happens. So maybe when your component renders, this function is called. When you change a state variable, this function is called. So that's why this function is also considered as a side effect function. So now you know that, okay, fine, this function is going to be called when your component is rendered, or maybe when you change your state variable. So if you want to perform something based on your component render or your state variable change, you can perform that in use effect. So use effect is a hook that is called based on something. So use effect is a hook which can be called based on a component render. So when the component renders, this function can be called. When you change the state variable, this component can this function is called. When component re-renders, this function is called. So we can perform whatever we want based on component render or state change, and that can be performed in use effect. So this is the function that is called, and I can perform anything here, whatever I want. Is this clear, everyone? Are you guys understanding my like concept here? Are you guys understanding the concept? That means we simply have a function that is going to be called on component render, state variable change, or component re-render. So whenever I want to perform something, if these three things happen, I can do it in use effect, because this is the function that is called whenever these things happen, and I can perform my logic inside this. Okay, and that's it. So now let's import it first. Let's import this hook. So again, it comes from React package. So you import use effect from React. Guys, are we understanding? Please tell me, everyone. Are we understanding the use of it? Everyone, please tell me. Are we understanding? And don't worry. Right now, it was just a definition. You'll understand it in a much more better way once we use it. Now then, let's go inside my component and let's call this function use effect. And then it basically has one callback function. That's it. Now I'll show you. Let's do one thing, guys. Guys, now you have to focus, okay? Let's go and let's form a console.log. Console.log component rendered. Now see, guys, everyone please focus. See it? Let's go here. Let's open the console and see. In the console, here we go. In the console, we have a message. Component rendered. That means when my component got rendered, this function was called. That's why this console.log worked. Simple. That's why this console.log worked, because so when my component got rendered, when my component was rendered, this use effect was called, and that's why we got this message, component render. Is it clear, everyone? See, guys, you have to understand all the steps. So why you don't reply to our comments? I didn't see any comment from you, Saitsa, Alisha. I didn't see any comment from you, buddy. So whoever is asking any question, I'm answering it. And I didn't see any questions from you. This is the first chat I'm seeing from your side. I can still go up and see. There was no chat. So please don't do this. If you have any question, you can just go ahead. My question is that send us link of that course which is free. The course that is going on right now is free. So you can attend this directly, right? And you can just do one thing to get all the updates about free courses and free essentials. You can just go to letsupgrade.in and just be connected there. Once you register, you will get all the mail. Is that clear, buddy? Okay, guys. So are we cleared, everyone? So right now see, if I again re-render my component, if I refresh, see, again it is called. That means for every render, it is getting called. And also, let's create a state variable. Okay, so let me also import use state. I want to show you something. So let me also use a use state here, and let's create a state variable, guys, because now you know, right? Whenever you change a value of a state variable, the component re-renders, right? Guys, please answer me, everyone. I want to confirm that you're understanding. So please answer me. I'm waiting for your answers, guys. Please answer me. Because if you don't answer, I'll be confused if you're understanding it or not. Okay. So I hope you guys remember states from the second session. So I'm creating a state variable. Okay. So let's call it like name. And then the function that will help me to change the state value, change the state variable's value is set name equals use state, and I give it a by default value of, let's say, Saurabh, something like that. Let's display this here. In a p tag, let's display it. So p, display that name. Here we go. Now see, here we have Saurabh. See, guys, we are getting all these errors because we have imported. We are getting all these warnings because we have imported these three things and we are not using it. So for now, guys, let's do one thing. Let's comment these three out. Because of this, we are getting continuous warnings. You have imported components, but you're not using it. Remove that. Okay, we still have something. Image elements must have an alt prop. Okay, that's fine. Where do I have image? Okay, let's simply go and just add alt. I just want to remove that warning messages for now. That's it. I hope that will be gone now. Nav is defined but never used. Come on. Where is nav defined? Let me also comment that out. Everything that we have commented is now causing a warning. Everything that we are not using is causing a warning. Now what? I have given alt. Now what is the issue? Image elements must have an alt prop either with meaningful text or an empty string for decorative images. We have given it. Set name is assigned a value. We are going to use it. Nav is defined but never used. Now it's not defined. Now we have commented it. See these warnings. I don't like these warnings. Okay, that's fine. Now we can leave it for some time. Now see, guys, everyone please focus. Now we have created a state variable and I have also displayed it. Now from the second session, if you remember, you know that when you change the value of a state variable, the component re-renders, right? We know that. So now let's go and change the value of the state variable. So let's create a function for that, or let's directly call it on a button. So button, let's give it change name, and let's call that function. On click, let's change the value of the state variable. So for that, set name, we use this, right? Set name, and let's put it like Thor. So initially the value is Saurabh. Now I'm changing it to Thor. And we know that when we change the variable value of the state variable, the component should re-render. And as I told you, that use effect is called whenever the component is rendered or re-rendered. So let's see if it is happening. Save it, and here we go. Now see, first time render, we got the message component rendered. That means use effect was called. Now let's change the state variable. Here we go. It's changed, and you can see this message again, guys. Component rendered. That means use effect is again called. That means this use effect is getting called for all the renders. Is it cleared, everyone? Guys, are we cleared? So that's the basic concept of how use effect is working. So it's like a function that is called on every re-render of the component. Guys, are we cleared till now? Okay. Now, what you can do is you can also go ahead and here you can mention an array. As the second parameter of your use effect, you can mention an array. And once you mention an array, now what happens is this use effect becomes a mounting function. That means now it will be only called when the component is rendered for the first time. Now it will not be called for all the re-renders. Let's check it out. Save it, refresh. See, we got the message. That means, yeah, for the first render, it is getting called. Now let's change the state. Here we go. State got changed, but now we don't get the message of component rendered. That means now this use effect is only getting called for what? Only for the first render, not for all the renders. Is that clear, everyone? So that's how you can limit the use effect. So I told use effect, okay, fine. I only want you to call, like I only want you to work for one time. That is on the first render, not for every render. So you can stop it by just adding a blank array. Is that clear, everyone? So that's one thing. So if you do, that means if you don't put anything here, this use effect will be called for every render, every like render. And when you put a blank array, it will be only called for the first render. Now, the best part, if you want, you can go ahead and mention some state variables inside your array. Now, what will happen? Now, this use effect will only work if I change the value of this name variable. That's it. It will not work for all the re-renders or renders. Is that clear? Now it will only work when I change the value of the name variable. So if I've mentioned this, it means fine, use effect. Now I only want you to work if the value of this variable changes. That's it. That's it. Now, just to show you the example, let me do this. Let me create one more state variable because that will also re-render the component, right? So I want to prove you that it will only work for name now, not for any other state variable. So let me create something like age. Okay, and let's a function called as set age. It will change the value. And then again use state. Here we go. I put age here. Sorry, not age. Let's put initial value of 27 or something like that. Save it. And now let's also create a function to change the age. So button change age. Let's change the age. So on click, set age. And let's put it like, okay, fine, 45. And also let's display the age somewhere. So here we go. Let's display the age here. Okay, now time to test it, guys. Time to test it. Is this you? Okay, fine. Before that, let's do one thing. Set age. Oh yeah, one mistake. So sorry, guys. Here we go. I didn't check. I didn't see it actually. Here we go. Set age. Cool. Now, guys, focus. Everyone, now please focus. Now see, when like if I don't mention this, if I don't mention anything, first to prove you that it is working for everything. See, let's do it. First, we got it for the first render. Then I do change name. I still get it. Amazing. Because when I change the name, the component re-rendered, and I still got this component. That means the use effect is working. Then I do change age, and see now I get twice. I got it twice. That means now it is still working. Okay. So right now use effect is working for all the component renders and re-renders. For the first time, when I change the name, it is still working. When I change the age, it is still working. But now I'm telling it, fine. I only want you to work for name, not for all the re-renders. I only want you to work for name variable now. So only if the name state variable changes, I want you to call. Otherwise, I don't want you to call. I don't want you to work. Let's see if it is working. So we got it for the first time. That's cool. We will definitely get it for the first time because initially we are also stating up the state variable, right? We are also setting up it. Initially, we also pass value Saurabh in this name variable, right? So initially also we get it. Fine. Now see, if I do change name, again I get it. That means okay, fine. It is working for name. But let's check now if it is working for age or not. Here we go. It is not working. We don't get anything now. That means now it is only working for this name variable, and that's it. So 3 steps, guys. If you don't pass anything in use state, it works for all the renders and re-renders. If you pass a blank array, it will only work for the first render. After that, it will never work. And if you pass a variable inside it, it will only work for that variable. If that variable changes, I'll be called. Otherwise, I'll not be called. 3 steps. So that's how use effect works. So that's why we call it a side effect function. Something happens and this is called. And now depending on our needs, we can use it anywhere. So guys, are we clear with use effect? Everyone? So it's just a function that is called based on something. If you don't put anything, I'll be called for all the renders and re-renders. If you put a blank array, I'll only work for the first render. If you put some variables inside me, I'll only work for that variable change. And I'll not work for anything other than that. And yes, you can also pass multiple things here. If I pass name and age, now see, if I pass name comma age, that means now I'll work for both name and age. Let's test it. See, first, we get it for the first render. Use effect will always work for first render. That's fine. Now, change name works, change age works. See? So it is working for age as well. If I remove the age, it will not work for age. So guys, are we cleared, everyone? Are we clear with use effect? That's it. That's all. Now you tell me, is it easy to understand? Was use effect easy? Guys, that's it. That's how use effect works. No, like nothing bigger than this. That's it. Please tell me, everyone, are we cleared? All the 40 people watching, guys, come on, tell me. Are we cleared? Sarma, Raja Kumar, Rohit, Kartikeya, Seor. Okay, that's great. That's great. That's great. Amazing. Now, we have to use this use effect depending on our needs whenever we want to use it. Okay. So I can use this to call APIs. See, I can perform anything inside it, whatever I need. Normally, we use it to call APIs. Normally, we use it to call APIs. Okay. So let's see how to call APIs in React. Okay. And now I'll remove this name and age from here. Now you guys tell me, give me a quick answer. If I remove the name and age, and if I only keep a blank array, then it will work. Okay, Aman, I'll explain you, buddy. Don't worry. See, understand, Aman. So you have two kinds of variables. Normal variable that looks like this, right? Let n equals to 1, 2, 3, something like this. Now this is a normal variable, and this is a state variable. The difference is when you get a normal variable, okay, and if you change it, nothing happens. The value is changed, but nothing happens. But when you create a state variable, and if you change the value of a state variable, the component re-renders. The component re-renders. Is it cleared? Aman Gupta, is it cleared, buddy? So that's the difference between a normal variable and a state variable. Okay. And to like understand it more deeply, you can go to the second session. In the second session, we understood everything about state. But for now, guys, and yeah, for now, buddy, just understand this use state is a function that helps you to create a state variable. Okay, so this is the function that tells that okay, this is the state variable. So this is how you create a normal variable, and this is how you create a state variable. So while creating a state variable, first you write the variable name. Okay, fine, this is my variable name, and this is the function I'll use to change the value of this variable. And this is the only function you'll use. You know, you cannot use anything other than this to change the value of name. Okay, and then equals to use state and then initial value. So whatever initial value you want for that particular variable, you can have it. Now see, in this case, I'm just going a little too fast in explaining this use state. If you want to understand it deeply, just go ahead and watch the second session once. You'll understand everything about state. Okay. Okay. Now, guys, tell me. Now I have passed a blank array. So use effect will be called when. Come on, guys. Yes, Rohit Sharma. If you guys want, I can create a weather API tomorrow, a complete weather API with a detailed information as a project. If you guys want that, I can do that for you. If you guys want to create a weather app, like a complete weather application, I can do it tomorrow. Raja Kumar is saying once, advanced tech is saying only one time. Come on, guys, any more answers? Everyone? Guys, focus on the question. Any more answers for this? This use effect will be called when? Guys, Rohit, after first rendering. Yes. So now I've got 3 to 4 answers. So yes, guys, you are correct. Debabrata is saying every time it render. No, Debabrata. It will not be called for re-render. See, it's a blank array, right? As I told you, if there is a blank array, it will only be called for the first render. That's it. That is it. If you don't pass anything, then it will be called for all the renders and re-renders. But if you pass a blank array, it is only called once for the first render. That's it. Is it clear, Debabrata? Now, guys, let's call a API. Let's see how to call a API in React. And normally, we call APIs in use effect. So basically, see, I want to perform something when my component is rendered. So where will I perform it? Guys, I want to perform some task when my component is rendered. So what makes sure that your component is rendered? Use effect. Because see, if you pass a blank array in use effect, so use effect is called only when the component is rendered. That means use effect is something that makes sure that your component is actually rendered. So now we can go inside this and call our API. So basically, whenever I want to perform something, when the component is rendered, I can go inside the use effect and perform my task. So now I want to call an API when the component is rendered. So I'll definitely do that calling part inside use effect. So let's do it. Okay. So let's call the API. And for now, guys, I'm going to call a fake API. That is this one. JSON placeholder.tp code, which will basically give me some dummy users. And I want that. That's it. So here we go. This is the data that I'll get. This is the data that I'll get. And this is the URL that I have to call. So let's call this URL, guys. Let's call this URL. Everyone, let's call this URL. So again, guys, this is not React. Now, what we are writing is basic JavaScript. So if you know JavaScript, it will be easy. If you don't know, please do some JavaScript first before learning React, always. Okay, so let's call the API. So first is you have to use the inbuilt function fetch. And this is not a React function. This is a JavaScript function. So fetch is a JS function. Okay, and in fetch, you can pass a URL that you're calling. So I'm calling this URL endpoint. And then you have to handle the response. So dot then you'll get your response here. Now I want it to be converted into JSON. So response.json. And again, one more dot then, and here I'll get my data. Then let's print our data. Console.log my data. And if there's any issue, I'll catch it. So catch error. And if there's error, print the error. So console.log my error. And that's it. That's how simple it is. Can I use React with Java? Why not? Yes, why not? If your Java is a backend, you can call it using React. It's totally fine. Yes, Shivang. Shivang, you can use it. React is you cannot integrate Java with React. In Java, you can create backend. So what I'm saying is you can call Java APIs using React. That's fine. You cannot integrate Java with React. Is that clear? So yes, you can create a backend in Java and call the API endpoints of that using React. You can do that. Sir, could you use async await function? Yes, definitely you can use it. Why not? Definitely. What you can do is then you can remove all of this and just write await in front of it. But in that case, this function will become async. But I just don't want to make it complicated because there are a lot of people who are new to JavaScript, right? Like who might not be like, maybe they don't know anything about JavaScript. So they will be confused in async and await. That's why I use the traditional technique of then and catch. So guys, see, this is how it works. Okay, for everyone who is new here, for everyone who knows JavaScript, fine. For everyone who is new here, how this works, So fetch is a function that helps you to call an API endpoint. So this was the endpoint that I was calling. This was the URL that I was calling, and it will return me back this data. When I call this URL, it will give me back this data. Okay, so fetch this URL. That means call this URL. Now that URL will give me a response. That URL will give me a response. So then that means, okay, fine. When I receive the response, cool. I receive the response, convert the response into JSON. Okay. And then Fine, give me that data as a JS object. And finally, I print my data. That's it. And if in any case there is an error, catch that. Now see, this is not the most detailed explanation of fetch that you will get. Okay. But I'm not like going for completely like fetch, because this is not JavaScript. We are learning React here. So if you want to understand fetch in a more better way, I would suggest you to go and watch my JS Essentials on the same channel. Just go and watch my JS Essentials once. You'll understand everything about fetch. There we have understood fetch from scratch. Because if I want to make you understand fetch, I also have to tell you what is a promise, what is a callback, and that will become a completely big topic. So we'll basically go out of track from React. Okay, so for the sake of React, we're directly using fetch. But just think that this is basically calling that endpoint, calling that URL, and getting me the data. That's all. That's all. So for everyone who knows JavaScript, this will be easy. For everyone who doesn't know JavaScript, I would suggest you to first go and watch some JS Essentials. So you can just go ahead on the same channel and watch my JS Essentials, where I've explained what is fetch, what is promise, and how it works. Okay, guys. So now let's see. So if we are getting the data should be printed. So let's see if we're getting it. Open the console, and here we go. See that, guys? We get an array of 10 data. See that, everyone? And on every index, we have an object. See that, guys? ID1, name, username, email. So we get 10 users. So we're getting an array of users. Guys, are we cleared? Everyone, please tell me. So we are basically getting an array of users. Yes, Aman Gupta, React is just a library for UI. Yes, you can say that. Okay, everything else is just JavaScript. Okay, guys, so we got an array of objects. We got an array of objects. And that's cool. That's what we wanted. We got the data. Okay, now you guys tell me, if we have an array of objects, would you be able to display it on the web page? Now, I'm asking this question based on yesterday's lecture. Now I have the array of objects. Would you be able to display this data on the browser? Guys, please tell me. We have learned that, right? Yesterday also, we had an array of objects, right? See this one? We had an array of objects and we displayed it. In the same way, we can display it as well. So in this data, we have this array of objects. That's it. Let's do one thing. Let's do one thing. Okay. First of all, let me remove the state variables now. I don't need them actually. Let me remove all of it. Remove all of it. Okay. Now guys, see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a state variable in which I'll store my data. Okay. I need to create a variable. See, right now it is available here, but I also want to store it in a variable. So let me create a state variable for this. So let users, and then a function that will set it. So set users equals to use state, and initially it's a blank array. Initially my users is a blank array. Okay, and now here I go. Once I receive my data, I perform set users and I pass this data there. That's it, sorted. So now all of this is basically going in this state variable. So initially my users is nothing but a blank array. So when I receive the data, I perform set users and I pass that data. That means the data that I'm receiving will directly go to the users state variable. So in my user state variable, I have all the data. I have all the data. Okay, now if I want to print it, what can I do, guys? I can perform a map, right? What I can do, just go like this, users dot map. We get two things. So first, I'm going to get my object that is I'm calling a user, and then I get my index. For now, I'm only going to print name, but you can print everything if you want. Return h1, and I'm only going to print name. So user dot name. Let's see if we get all the names here. And see that, guys? Lean Graham, Erwin Howell, Clementine Bock, Patricia Lepsaxi, Lean Graham, Erwin Howell, all the names. Everything is here. And if you want, you can display everything in a better way, right? You also have username and everything. So if you want, you can display everything in a better way. I showed you yesterday. See, our final thing is we got an array of objects. And the last question is, do we know how to display array of objects? Yes, we know that. So from an API, we are not going to receive anything alien. We are only going to receive an object or an array of object. And we know how to display array of object, right? So now by calling this API, I got an array of object. I stored it in users array, users state array. It's a state variable, right? And then I simply displayed it using map. In this case, I'm only printing the username. If you want, you can print the username and everything. Can we use for each loop instead of map? You should not use it because for each doesn't return. Map returns. Map can return. Is that clear? And personally, I also prefer map because map can return. For each doesn't return. Is that clear, Daman? Is it clear, buddy? So that's why we always go for map, because see, working wise they are same, but the only difference is for each doesn't return, map can return. Okay, you can try it if it works. Why not? You can definitely try it. So let's go for each. Maybe it will work. Let's see. No, it doesn't work because it is not returning. So if it is not returning, how can I get it? Is it cleared now? So that's why we go for map, because map can return, for each doesn't return. Is it clear now? I showed you. So you should never use for each. Always go for map. Okay. So that's how things work. Now, you guys tell me, if I like tell you to display this information, this complete information in a card format by displaying everything, name, then the phone number, username, website, and address, everything, will you guys be able to do it? Please tell me, everyone. Will you guys be able to do it? If I tell you to display this information of all the 10 users in a card format. So on the first card, you'll have the name of the first user and website. We saw it yesterday, right? See, guys, the main point is at the end, we are getting an array of objects and we know how to display array of objects. That's it. Okay. So that's the only thing. API is giving nothing. API is simply giving us an array of object. So this particular thing is giving us an array of object. That's it. And guys, see, never get confused between use effect and API calling. Use effect is different. We perform our API calling in use effect because we want to perform that API calling when the component renders. A lot of time, because of reading API calling on internet and they see that API calling is already always done in use effect, what they think is that use effect is a function that is helping them to call APIs. So that's not the case. Never get confused. Don't ever answer to someone, okay, fine, I can use effect to call APIs. No, use effect is a function. Use effect is a side effect function that is called based on component render or based on component re-renders or based on state variable change. And it depends how you make it. And you can do anything inside it. You can do anything inside it. And one thing that you can do is you can call APIs, because I want to call my API when the component renders. So basically, when the component renders, use state is called, use effect is called, and inside use effect, I can perform my API logic. But never connect these two directly. They are not connected. It's not like that. I can perform my API calling somewhere else as well, based on a button click, based on an image click. I can perform it anywhere else. It's totally fine. So never connect them. Yes, Aman. So API is just going to give you data. And once you got the data, you literally know how to display it. We saw it yesterday. So the main aim is to get the data. API is only going to give you data. And at the end, it's you who is going to display it. Okay. So, yep, that's what it is. That's it. That's all. So the main thing, are you cleared with use effect, everyone? Guys, are we cleared with use effect? Please tell me, everyone. Guys, are we clear with use effect? And for API calling, I'm not going to ask it because I directly used it, because I'm assuming that you might be knowing JavaScript. So for all the people who don't know how fetch works, please go ahead and watch my JS Essentials on the same channel, that is Let's Upgrade. You can watch my JS Essentials. I've explained it very well, how fetch works and everything, how promises and everything work. Otherwise, for now, you can mug this up and how this is working, and then we can go ahead. Okay. Now, One last question. What project do you want to learn tomorrow? Should I create a news API? Should I like create a news application, or should I create a weather application, or what else? You guys tell me. Come on, guys. What project do you want me to make tomorrow? What project do you want me to make tomorrow? Weather app? So in weather app, what we'll do is we'll pass the city, and based on that, we'll get the weather, live weather. So we can do that either, or we can pass a particular topic and we can get the live news based on that. So it's up to you. In weather app, we'll pass city, we'll give a user a chance of passing city, and then we'll extract weather based on that, or we can pass a topic and we can extract live news on that. We can like pass Microsoft and we can get all the Microsoft news. Okay, I can see a lot of people now going for news app. Weather app, news app. Okay, now I'm getting a lot of votes for news app. Both. I don't think that's possible, Rohit Sharma. We only have 1 hour maybe, and I can extend it to 1 hour 15 minutes tomorrow. So I don't know if we can complete both, but I'll show you one. You can easily create the second one. The technique will be same. The technique will be completely same. Okay. Okay. So I can see a lot of votes for news app, guys. So yeah, let's go for news app. Tomorrow, let's make a news app. Okay. And tomorrow is the last session, guys. Tomorrow is the last session of React Essentials. So again, guys, this was just the essential session. If you have liked it, if you have enjoyed it, and if you want to like learn more with me from scratch till end, you can still join our advanced courses. Okay, where I teach everything from scratch till the end, and we're also going to build projects from scratch. Okay, you'll be always in the live session with me in the meetings. You can learn everything from me, and you can also watch all the other sessions as well. Enroll for one course, and you can also watch everything, data science and everything. Okay, so if you want, you can also join the advanced courses. So the link is in the chat. Just register to that and we'll talk to you. If you want to join, you can just go ahead and just register to the link and we'll talk to you, and you can join the advanced courses. So React advanced courses, how many days? See, we don't have a specific course only for React, because React is only around, in the whole advanced course that we have, full stack web development, in that React goes around 20 to 30 days, because we create 3 projects in React. Okay, so it goes around 3 to 4 projects actually. So it goes around 1 month. Shurohit, you are asking Revelt. Is it Revelt or Svelte? I think it's Svelte, right? I don't know if there's something called as Revelt. Let me see. Is there something that I don't know? Maybe. See, it's Svelte. That's what I'm getting confused. It's not Revelt, it's Svelte. There's a S in start. It's a new framework, right? It's a new what do you say, JS framework. So even I am learning that. So once I learn it, maybe we'll perform a essential in future. Even I'm trying to learn that, because right now I'm working with React and Angular on my projects. So I'm also trying to learn Svelte. Once I learn it perfectly, I'll launch essential for that. So we can launch essential and then I can teach you Svelte. Don't worry about it in future. Is that clear, guys? So guys, the postgraduate program link is in the chat. You can just join, like register yourself there and we'll contact you. Okay, guys. So everyone, are we cleared with today's session? And the most important question, did you guys enjoy it? So a lot of people think use effect is complicated. Now you tell me, was use effect complicated? You guys tell me. Come on, the last question. Was use effect complicated for you? Because I have heard a lot of people saying use effect is complicated. It's like very tough to understand. It's very tough to understand. You saw it, right? Nothing. It's just a function. It's a side effect function that is called based on renders and re-renders. That's all. That's how simple it is. Okay. And tomorrow we're going to combine everything that we have learned. And for everyone, please, whoever was new here today and who doesn't know state, please go ahead and watch the second day session. In the same course, watch the second day session. There I have explained very well how state works and what actually state is. Okay, so please everyone go ahead and watch it. Today I simply use state because I'm expecting that now you know state, because on the second day we learned about states. Okay, so for everyone who was new today, please go ahead and watch that session and like understand state. And then tomorrow we are going to combine everything that we have learned: displaying, using states, use effect, everything. Okay, and Vaidehi, can you also pass the attendance form link in the chat? So guys, it will be available. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed, guys. I hope you enjoyed the session. And tomorrow we'll meet once again for the last time for this course, and we'll make a live news app. Okay, guys. So that's it for today, everyone. Thank you so much. Okay, and have a great night, guys. And I'll see you tomorrow exactly at 6:30. Okay, everyone. Bye bye, guys. Good night. See you tomorrow, everyone.